Hello, Cancer. Welcome to Dove and Serpent Tarot. My name is Paul. If Cancer is your sun, moon, or rising sign, this is your tarot card reading. Remember to hit the like button, leave a comment. Consider subscribing to the channel, especially if this reading resonates with you. If there is anything you would like me to pray over, or meditate upon, or send positive energy toward, please let me know. Now, this is a general reading, so try to be open and receptive to whatever may come through during our time together. I am merely the messenger. And I ask you to connect directly with each of these cards and use your own intuition to take you beyond the details that I provide. And remember, Cancer, that the most important part of any tarot reading is you. And here we have a Hermit, okay? This is your ability to protect your energy, right? I feel like you're a very sensitive person. I know that's probably not a news flash to Cancer, but I feel that you right now are in this period where you're not overexposing yourself, to other vibrations. You're very, very selective and very protective of your energy at this time, okay? I think that it's talking about a season where you have refused to let people affect you in a way that you don't want to be affected, okay? So I feel like you're saying no to more things. Other things that you maybe would have overcommitted yourself to, or you would have said yes to out of a feeling of obligation. You're saying no. I don't want to, and I don't have to explain why. Okay. Sometimes the Hermit is wearing a cloak of invisibility. It's like sometimes we just want the world to leave us alone, And sometimes we're working on something that is more important to us than whatever the heck's going on out there. It's too people-y out there, right? It's kind of the Hermit's favorite phrase. But I wonder if this season is ending for you, or if we're still in the middle of this sort of Hermit season. Okay. As the summer winds down and we get into the autumn months, I wonder if this is really where you kind of thrive more. I know Cancer, you're kind of a summer season, right? I'm a solar Cancer. So this rings true for me. Even though I'm a solar Cancer, my birthday is not my favorite day. The height of summer is not my favorite time of the year. I like the fall. I like when we're getting into winter now and it's time to hunker down. I like kind of staying inside with some hot cocoa and a scary movie, I like I like my fortress of solitude. As much as I like summertime and going out and having a good time, going by the water and doing all that kind of stuff and seeing family and friends, I feel like there's more of a concentration of power in the autumn and winter months for you. So I think you're really moving into this season where you're focusing on your inner work, your inner growth, your spiritual work, but on your personal projects, the stuff at home, right? Focusing on your small, intimate circle and building things up there. Okay, I feel like the autumn and the winter are really the months where you build, and you're done. Like you're not spending the money anymore. You're not putting in all those hours somewhere else. You're kind of like you're starting to consolidate and concentrate some of that energy. Yeah, you are a magic maker. Let's see where this card is taking us. Okay. Hey, we have a Prince of Swords. We have a Queen of Pentacles. Now we have two Virgo references here, so I would watch the Virgo reading if I were you. Watch the last one that came out and watch the next one that's coming out tomorrow, because I feel that there is a strong Virgo connection in your life right now. Here's Capricorn and the Devil card. We have the High Priestess. We have a Four of Swords. Okay. We have a Five of Wands. You've got a 10 of Swords, a 4 of Cups, and a Prince of Wands here. Okay, so I feel like there is more kind of focus coming into your life here, right? I feel like there's more of a concentration of energy. This is kind of like that commitment to things that are not out there anymore, but they are in here. Okay, they're inside of you. So I think that you're focused more on creativity, more on self-care, more on getting your house in order, doing the upgrades that you need to focus on. And I think it's a time for a lot of self-love, a lot of self-care. Okay, I think you're moving into a season where you are putting in a lot of effort. Now, just because it's going to be autumn and winter doesn't mean that you're not doing anything. It doesn't mean that you're not going to be just as busy as you were during the summertime, but busy in a different way. Focusing your attention inward, focusing on things that mean something to you. You know, on that personal level, focusing on maybe your close relationships, your family, your friends, focusing on your relationship with yourself. I feel like there's a body awareness thing taking place here. There is a focus on physical health and longevity. I feel like there is a shift toward more exercise and just more intentional movement. Okay. I feel like there is a staying away from drama, saying no to the drama. Okay. I think your mental health is very important right now too. Let's select the mystery card, bonus card, confirmation card. This is a random card from the Smith-Waite Tarot. This is the factor infinite and unknown. We're going to set this down right over here with Jimbo, the Lizard King, right there on top. And just because I can do anything doesn't mean we're going to look at that card until the very end. Okay, it will tie everything together, will give us the confirmation that we need at the end of the reading. If at any moment during this message you feel like you might know what that card might be, put your prediction in the comments below the video. Now, as we look around the room, we see a cluster of major arcana energies. We see the Devil. Okay. We see the Hermit. We see the High Priestess guiding the process. This is your intuition. This is Spirit. I feel like Spirit is calling on you to honor your strength by saying no, by rejecting things that are not going to provide any nourishment for you. You're focusing on quality over quantity now. Intentional movement, intentional eating. I feel like you're doing a lot of this self-care work. Stress reduction. Right? Stress reduction, focusing on relationships that you don't need. Okay? Stoking the inner fire. Okay? I think the small daily burdens of life, just the chores, all the activity of the summertime, I feel like they kind of left you feeling a little bit, well, maybe hermit mode. Maybe they left you feeling like unseen, right? And stretched very thin. I feel like you're kind of taking your power back in a way here. You're starting to now protect this energy and allow yourself to build up. I think spring and summer seem to be very challenging times where there is a lot of this pull from outside areas, pulling on your energy, drawing upon your energy. And with this Ten of Swords, I feel like there's nothing left for you to give. So it's like summer's ending at the right time for you, that now you can kind of go Fortress of Solitude and you can rebuild your fire. And this is where it's kind of like spring and summer are like lifting the weights at the gym. And then autumn and winter are the rest day, the alternative phase, the kind of going home, resting, and letting things get rebuilt. Because it's that cycle that creates strength, right? You go to the gym and you exercise and you create those micro tears in your muscles and you challenge and you stimulate all that stuff. And then it's while you rest and while you sleep that your body rebuilds itself and that the muscles actually get bigger and stronger. Okay? It's not the lifting of the weight that makes you stronger, but it's the resting afterward where things get to grow back together and get replenished and all that stuff. So I feel like spring and summer is one side of that, and then autumn and winter are the other side of that for you. Okay? And it's important that you understand your own cycles. And maybe this isn't really about the seasons for you, but I think you're in a cycle now where you don't want the drama. You don't want all that outside stuff pulling at you and drawing out your energy. You're moving into a season or a phase or a personal cycle where you are replenishing your energy. You're stoking your creative fire. Maybe you're getting back into your spiritual work. You're getting back into your kind of intention, all this stuff that you kind of do by yourself, you know, sleeping, right? Meditation and you know, the spiritual practices. And, you know, I think you have a close group of people with you, but these are like those, the personal, kind of the interior temple, stuff that needs your attention from the skin inward. Okay. Anyway, so we have our majors, and I think Spirit's guiding this process. I think that you are reclaiming your needs, that you're shining your light on your interior world because you're focusing on renewal. Okay? I think that other people lean on you a lot, okay? And I think that it's time now for you to begin kind of taking a little bit of your time and effort and energy and space, you know, back for yourself so that you can replenish what you have been kind of dishing out to the world, okay? So anyway, we have our majors. We got fire here, a couple of fire cards. We have our water energy. We have some air, 3 air cards, and we have some earth energy, right? So the Hermit and the Prince of Swords here. Prince of Swords seems like it's someone who has made a statement and is not taking any questions, you know. That you've sort of said, this is what I'm doing, this is, you know, I'm going to be in my office, don't knock on the door. Don't come get me, don't call, don't bother me, okay? It's kind of like we put up a closed for the holiday or an out of order sign on something, you know, because we don't want to be disturbed. This is your do not disturb sign. Because I think that you need some downtime. I think your life has been chaotic. I think it's been busy. I think it's left you kind of drained. It almost feels like there's nothing left right now. It's like you just need to sleep. It's like you're going to turn the lights down, you're going to get your warm blanket, you're going to shut and lock the door, and you're going to make sure everybody knows, don't bother me. It's kind of like you're going into a hibernation, you know? And this is the Cancer crab going back into the shell. Not retreating from the world, but that's where you replenish your energy. The crab doesn't go inside the shell because it's scared. That's where it lives. You know, that's where it kind of like, that's where it can build up its tissues and its energies again. So I feel like this is a natural part of the process for you. Okay. Shout out to everybody that is ready for some self-care in this coming season. And I think even if you don't really realize that it's time, maybe you take advantage where you can, okay? In the autumn here, it's kind of things start to wind down and the days kind of get shorter. So it's just like there's more time for rest and recuperation, theoretically anyway. We have to force that. We sometimes have to advocate for that, which means saying no to more things. Okay, this is the card sometimes of a decision. Sometimes this is someone who's on the fence about things. And I think in the summertime, you tend to be talked into things, you know. Someone says, oh, come on, come with us. And you say, okay, you know. I think going into this next season, it's going to be no, and that's it. No explanation required. Because I kind of feel like you've hit a wall in social stuff. You've hit a wall in being around other people or maybe orchestrating things or kind of just being on, you know, being on. I like that we have the devil and we have the fire here in these corners of our, we have sort of a triangle here. And in these angles, we've got the Capricorn devil card, we've got fire and fire. So I kind of feel like you're moving into a period not of inactivity, but interior activity, solo activity, right? That devil card kind of being selfish, focusing on the things that you need to get done. What are things that during the summertime you sort of neglect? It could be things around the house. It could be things about your own development, maybe books you wanted to read, movies you wanted to watch, things you wanted to learn, routines or habits or activities that you wanted to explore, pictures that you wanted to paint, whatever it is, music that you wanted to play. I feel like this is the season where you're taking that time. You're being a little selfish. And that's okay. I want you to hit the like button if you're ready to lock this in. I feel like this is where your self-love needs to meet with this power, and you need to say, this is what I'm doing, and do not disturb me. It's kind of like you fulfilled your social obligations or your family stuff or the work stuff. You did all this extroverted stuff. I think that you're going into a period of introversion. Okay. I bit my tongue when I said extroverted, right? Because I think there's something there. I think it's kind of this. It's almost like a cringe word now. It's kind of like I don't want any more of that. Yeah. So I feel like you're moving into a season where you're feeling just more shielded, and you're trying to really have boundaries. I think that's the word that we need right now. Set up some boundaries in your life. Okay, it's okay to put up the do not disturb sign or the out of order sign or something, just so you can get a little bit of peace, so you can get some of your own work done. I feel like there's something in your life about your personal projects, right? That's you kind of been falling behind on those things. Okay. So anyway, the Prince of Wands, yes, this is a fixed air energy. It's sort of making a decision and sticking to it. Okay, this is somebody whose belief cannot be shaken. It's like, this is what I believe. This is what my opinion is. This is the statement of a fact. This is my truth. Nothing you say is going to change my mind. Sorry, not sorry, right? That's what this card's all about. And I don't think you're being, I don't think you're doing it with too much attitude, but you are setting boundaries. And you're enforcing those boundaries. And I think that is really important right now. Okay. Down beneath the surface with your Queen of Pentacles, I think you're looking back at the last few months of your life, and you're looking at what a long, wild, strange, and crazy trip it's been. Okay, the Queen of Pentacles looking at the long, winding road behind you. Not with regret, but almost with astonishment, like, I can't believe I did all that stuff over the last few months. Like, that's crazy, I can't believe I'm still awake. Sometimes when you get home after a really long day and you think, I can't believe how much I did today, like how busy I was. Can't believe I'm still awake right now. What am I doing still in my day clothes? I should be in my pajamas, I should be asleep already. But I think that you feel very accomplished. I feel like you produced a lot. You did a lot of things, You showed up where you needed to show up, and you pushed yourself. And I think the extroversion, the social interactions, they tend to take more out of you than maybe they do for other people. Okay? It takes a little bit more effort. And then it kind of like, it leaves you feeling a little bit more, maybe a little bit more depleted than other people. Okay, I think like Cancer, I think you need more days of recovery after a big social thing. And the summer is like, that's the social, kind of season, right? Of course, you have the winter holidays, the fall and winter holidays that sort of come up, but it feels like those are different, right? Those are kind of, at least, my opinion, I guess. Those are kind of like at home, they're quieter, they're a little bit more intimate, a little bit more, warm and relaxed, I guess. Whereas summer is, the weather's nice, everybody's outside. You got to go out to the fair. You got to go out to the beaches, or you got to go do these things out, these activities outside while the weather's nice. I like it when the weather is bad because it means I get to stay home, right? And, but I think you still have this ability to look out over the past and really be satisfied with how much you've done. There's no regret. There's no like, I should have done more. Okay? This is the wisdom inside of you, you know? This truth is that you are who you are today because of every thought, word, and deed you've made. The ups and downs, the twists and turns of life have brought you right here to this moment. In other words, you've earned your hermit mode. Okay? You've earned your hermit mode. And again, the hermit mode does not mean inactivity. It means a shifting of focus from external to internal. Okay? From external to internal. You're focusing on your kind of, almost like it's a shift toward the domestic kind of, tasks that need to be done. Things that you wanted to do at home. Kind of inside, things for you, things in your personal world. And so to me, it feels like it really is this kind of a turning into a bit of a homebody, I guess, for the next few months. I think that's something you deserve. It's something you've earned. It's something you're going to take advantage of. Okay? You're a magic maker. You did a lot of magic out there in the world. It's time for you to focus some of that energy here. Okay? Big shout out to everybody that is going to watch these readings at home, curled up in bed with a warm blanket. And big thank you to everybody that watches all the zodiac signs. Okay? And I think it really is, it's important. Like this is, a Cancer reading, but I think a lot of people can benefit from this. If it resonates, it resonates. It doesn't matter what your sign is. Everybody gets too hung up on that. Well, that's resonating with me, but I'm not a Cancer. Well, it's still resonating with you. You are a Cancer somewhere. Everybody has every sign in their chart. You may not have a sun or a moon or a Mercury or a Venus, or it might not be your ascending sign, but you have Cancer in your chart. But it might be something that you don't look at very often. Okay? Each of us have all the signs in our birth chart. Okay? So it doesn't surprise me that one or more or even all of these readings will resonate with you. And it's not just a way for me to get more views, although I appreciate that, but I get so many people that say, hey, I watched this other sign just for the heck of it, and I can't believe it resonated with me. Why is that? No, because it did. Okay, anyway, the Devil card here in the background. The Devil card is a lot of ambition. Okay, it's really like a mountain that you've been climbing. And I think that it's, if anything, this is a creative drive. This is an external focused, trying to really like make a difference in the world, trying to put a dent on the universe, trying to leave your mark in the world, okay? It's generative, creative drive, trying to generate something kind of beyond you, okay, kind of outside the house. I think that moving into the Hermit energy now is sort of you continuing that work, but it feels like this is now the internal part of it. Okay. And I think this is also these two cards together, very earthy cards too, by the way, right? Virgo and Capricorn. I feel that you prefer to do things rather solo. Okay, you prefer to work independently. I think that you were in a situation where you were kind of, you were put into a lot more social situations than you would have liked. You made it through. Okay, you did what you had to do, and I think you were very successful at it. And now it's really time for you to kind of use your strength to restore your house. Okay. The Devil card is sometimes a lone mountain goat. Okay. And whatever mountain you've been climbing, I feel like this is the season, this Hermit season is where you just kind of carve out a little cave for yourself and you go inside to rest, to recuperate, to meditate, to do the interior work, the spiritual work. Okay, until the seasons change again, and then of course you're kind of back to doing more activity. But the Devil card is also a selfish kind of card, right? It's someone that, maybe kind of only thinks of themselves, right? And I don't think that's you. I think that if anything, you get caught up in other things and then you don't think about yourself enough. Okay? That you, instead of being the mountain goat, it's kind of like the pack animal. Instead of the goat that's just kind of leaping up the mountain free and enjoying it, it's kind of like you're loaded up with bags and equipment and this heavy load, and someone's on your back and you're sort of carrying everything up the mountain there. I feel like you take on a lot more weight than you realize, or a lot more weight than people give you credit for. And then when you ask for time for yourself, I feel like people kind of accuse you of being selfish, But I don't know how factual that is. It could be our perception of it. It could be that you feel guilty for taking time for yourself because you feel like people are going to think I'm just being lazy. People are going to think that I can't handle it. People are going to think that I'm weak, right? I think that eventually would cause some resentment. Okay. I think that people lean on you a lot, and people ask you to carry a lot, not realizing that you're already like overloaded. And then if you don't speak up, that's not going to change. So don't turn the goat into like the donkey, the mule that's just loaded up with equipment trying to climb the mountain. So the hermit is kind of like saying, look, I'm done, I'm going inside. Don't owe anybody an explanation. If there are people out there who say, oh gosh, you're quitting, you're lazy, you're giving up, you're going to just abandon all this work right now or whatever. I don't feel like there are very many people like that in your life, but even if there are, you don't owe them an explanation. Okay? I feel like the people that really matter to you, they're going to understand that enough is enough, that this is now, it's you're clocking out, right? You're clocking out of that, whatever that is. Because I feel like it really is, I almost feel like you've been buried underneath something that you kind of feel like you got lost in there. And that you're stretched very, very thin. But here we have the full moon. And the full moon, well, the moon, right, rules Cancer. The high priestess is the full moon. It is the widening of the psychic aperture. It is the opening of the third eye. It is the dawning of that spiritual realization. It's not sunlight, it's moonlight. And I think now that moonlight belongs to you. The fall, the autumn and winter seasons, they belong to you now. Maybe it's just the next month or the week or whatever. I don't know the seasons, but whatever the timetable is for you, I feel like you're claiming this time as your own. Okay? And I think that spirit is showing you that continuing on as before is going to really lead to like diminished returns. Okay? So it's almost as if the high priestess is coming down, taking you by the hand and dragging you to bed and saying, you go lie down. Okay? And don't let me catch you out of bed. Right? Because your intuition or spirit can be harsh in that way. Right? And I think that maybe there is some kind of a confirmation happening in the world around you that's telling you, okay, I better go lay down. You're outside doing some work and it's just like you lose your footing and maybe you fall or you drop something or you have some sort of a minor accident or a close call, right? And it's kind of like, okay, I'm going inside. I'm going to bed. Like something is sort of telling you that you're too tired right now to continue, so you have to go lie down, right? I don't know if that's it exactly, but I do feel that there's a need for for the rest and the recuperation. There's a need for you to do the self-care. I think love and power are focused inward right now. And I think that self-love and that sort of the boundaries, right? The power to enforce your own boundaries, those are really going to create a very powerful time for you, like a very concentrated season. Again, whether it's kind of a week or if it's maybe longer, if it's the entire fall season, I don't know. But a lot of inner growth, right? You're taking care of that internal garden, because I think it's long overdue. Okay, and I think the High Priestess is here really because you know that this is, you know that it's time. Okay, in the future position, the way forward for you, okay, is this idea of boundaries, meditation, breath work, stress reduction. Okay, so these are all those practices that you need to focus on. And this is also like, you know, the intellectual studies, or it's even like you've been so busy that you haven't had the luxury to think about certain things. Do you know what I mean? Like people, you know, ask you, well, what do you think about, you know, what do you think about aliens or something like that? And you're just like, I don't know. You know, I don't have the luxury to think about those things because you're so busy, you know, focused on all of these responsibilities and all these outward things. Sometimes you just need time to contemplate things, just to let your mind wander around. To be able to give yourself the luxury for contemplation. Think about that. Think about being so busy that you never feel like you can just sit down and just like ponder the meanings of life, ponder the vast, you know, expanse of the universe or something, right? Or like think of those philosophical questions, or ask yourself those really open-ended, insightful kind of psychological or spiritual questions. You never give yourself the luxury for that. Well, that's Four of Cups, right? Four of Cups is luxury. And this is in the position of the obstacle, the fear, the worry, concern. I think that maybe even not physically, but mentally, you've been so overloaded that there's been no bandwidth left for you to think about things that matter to you. How do you feel about X, Y, Z? I don't know. I don't think about it. There's no time. There's no luxury for you to contemplate. Think about it. That's why I keep saying it to myself because it sounds so weird. There's no luxury. There's no time for you to ponder and contemplate like the deeper meaning of your life, or what's important to you, or, you know, I don't know what you think about or what you would think about. And I think that's kind of what you're doing with this season that you're stepping into. You're demanding the luxury to do those things because it shouldn't be a luxury. It should be a kind of foundational necessity of life. Time to think about stuff. Time to like use your brain and figure things out. Not in that extroverted, there's a problem out there I need to solve, there's a scheduling issue, there's some responsibility, there's something I got to do, there's errands, there's chores, there's, you know, all these activities, there's these social things, I've got to talk to people. No, but just to have time to just sit there with a cup of chai, tea or something, and just like, you know, I wonder if there's another version of me on some distant planet that's like, you know, I wonder, you know, like just to ask yourself those weird questions. Giving yourself the luxury for that sort of contemplation. Well, to me, that's the Four of Swords. Okay, now I want you to subscribe to the channel. I want you to bookmark this video if you need to and come back when the timing feels right. The High Priestess up here is like your higher self. Okay, this is that divine essence inside of you that really needs to wake up. So these two together, it's like you're giving yourself the luxury to dream again. I think you've been so busy with stuff that you haven't even been having a lot of dreams lately. This is the divine, this is you giving space for your divine energy to kind of activate again, for you to connect with spirit, for you to connect with your psychic abilities, for you to start reading tarot again, start meditating, praying, for you to ask those philosophical questions, for you to ponder and contemplate the meaning of life, and for you to, pay attention to synchronicity, for you to investigate those aspects of life that are interesting to you, that feel meaningful to you. The universe will not reveal her secrets to you if you don't ask any questions. So now it's starting to become clear this isn't so much about your sort of physical activities, but it's really the mental bandwidth. That Four of Swords really has said a lot here, okay? Path of the Serpent, Five of Wands. This is you enforcing your boundaries now. This is you actively kind of taking back time, effort, energy, and money. This is the five-fingered hand, reaching out into the world and saying, that's mine. I'm taking this. This is an hour. I'm taking it. Reclaiming our time, effort, energy, money, and space. I think it's establishing boundaries, and it is enforcing those boundaries. Nobody's just going to come by and give it to you. Okay? I think that the timing feels right. I feel like the fact that we're going from summer into autumn now feels like the right time. At least around here, we're going from really hot days. Now it's like starting to get a little chilly again. I'm in the fall mood. I'm already autumn, Summer's already over for me. And so it is, it feels like you're establishing those boundaries, and you're asserting yourself. You're advocating for yourself. You're intentionally kind of slowing down on the external things so that you can redirect some of that power to the internal systems. Okay? And I think it's the right time for that. This is the card of fight. This is the card of knowing when to strive and when to yield, when to rush forward and when to rest, when to lift more weights and when to not lift the weights and let things rebuild. And I think that this is you with that willingness to sort of advocate for yourself. You're not explaining, you're demanding. You're not asking, you're claiming something. This is what I'm doing, this is what I need, this is what I'm taking. I'm not explaining it, I'm not asking for permission, it is what it is. You're not asking for a favor or some kind of charity, because it's something that you've earned and you deserve it anyway, so nobody's doing you a favor. You know what I mean? The next card, the Ten of Swords, this is a card of a dry and desiccated sort of situation. Okay? I think that as this card is in your environment, it is about your relationships with the external world and the people, places, and things in it. I think you are no longer finding very much nourishment in the things of the outside world. Okay? It doesn't mean you're going complete and utter like literal hermit. Okay? But I think that you're realizing that all of the trappings of the external world are not nourishing your soul right now. And so you're taking your attention, the dynamics of your energy here, and you're focusing on other things that mean something deeper to you. These are all the things of the outside world that just feel dry and desiccated and rather meaningless. And it's kind of, we can talk about that phenomenon where you start to do really intense spiritual work, and then it seems like all of the stuff outside that used to be so interesting now just seems like complete waste of time. That's kind of what this feels like. Once you start like meditating again and doing your spiritual work and your prayers or your dance or your art or whatever that is, then some relationships, some of these activities we used to do, some of those things that were so interesting before, now just seem like dry holes. They just seem like distractions, And I think the Ten of Swords is really realizing that some things don't need to be around right now. In the winter time, in the fall and the winter, all the leaves fall from the trees. A lot of these plants just kind of die. Things decay, things crumble. Things turn into dust, right? Things are on their way out. And that to me is the Ten of Swords right now. There's no life left. There's no more fruit on the vine. The vine is withering and it's dying. That's what it's supposed to do this time of year. In the larger cycles of nature, but in your personal life too, those things that were so interesting and so captivating in the summertime or in your extroverted season, now in the introverted season, those things aren't bearing fruit and those things are dying and withering away as they're supposed to. And maybe when you reemerge from this hermit period, you'll re-engage with those things. But right now they don't mean anything to you, and that's okay. This is your cycle, okay? The Four of Cups in the position of the obstacle, the fear, worry, concern. This is about you taking luxuries. This is about you allowing yourself the luxury, right? And think of to me it feels like, think of the basic needs of life. Water, shelter, food, sunlight. Water, shelter, food, fire. How about that? Water, shelter, food, and fire. Those are necessities. Those are things required for life. Those aren't luxuries. Okay? Taking time for yourself to heal your body, your mind, your heart and soul, that's not a luxury. It should be a basic need. Okay? Having time to use your mind, to contemplate, to look at the stars and contemplate other worlds, to contemplate the nature of God, goddess, deity, to commune with nature, to commune with your higher self and with spirit. That shouldn't be considered a luxury. Your life shouldn't be so packed full of responsibilities that it's like you don't even have time to sleep. Oh, sleeping, dreaming at night, that's a luxury. No. So I don't know the solution here, but I do know the problem. I think it's a matter of prioritizing things, shifting the priority to say, I got to prioritize me. Whatever that's going to look like, that's what it's going to look like, okay? I feel that you still are someone who will make sacrifices for the people that you love. Let's say you got kids, okay? Their water, shelter, food, and fire are important too. But if you don't take care of yourself, just like they say on an airplane, right? First you got to do your oxygen before you can help anybody else with their oxygen. Because if you're out of commission, nobody's going to get your help. It's important that you take care of you. And I think that by doing that, you're actually able to be more of a constant source for other people. Okay? You're more of a resource for other people when you're willing to take care of yourself. Even if it means, hey, I'm kind of going off grid for a day or two. I need a reboot. I need a reset here. Because you want to be there for everybody else. You want to be able to show up for everybody else. Because that's the kind of person you are. Okay? But if the burdens of life now have got you feeling unseen, stretched thin, and that you can't really you can't carry any more weight, you've got to do something about that. You've got to have that reset or that reboot. So you can come back, and do it again and re-engage. This is a very extroverted energy, our Prince of Wands. Very extroverted energy. And maybe, your birthday season wasn't too long ago. Maybe that was like the kind of grand finale of your extroverted season. And once the birthday is over, things start to wind down for you. Okay? And I think it's important that you allow that to happen. I want to look at the mystery card. I want this to be, probably the Chariot, I guess. I don't know what else it could be right now. Maybe the Empress. Maybe some love. Maybe a Two of Cups. Yeah. Well, if you have a prediction, put it in the comment section, okay? Let's see what we have. a Knight of Pentacles. So you have the Queen looking at the past, and then you have the Knight looking at the future. Okay? Because in a way, it's kind of like saying, you know, I know that my life's going to get real busy again, so I better take this time now to do it. It's the kind of like, I know summer's going to be here pretty soon. I know summer's not even over yet, and I'm already thinking, there's going to be another spring and summer coming soon. I better take full advantage of the time I got this autumn and this winter. Or it's kind of like the weekend. It's like, I know Monday morning's going to be here any day now. I better take really, really good advantage of Saturday and Sunday. Okay. Looking into the future, I think, too, and kind of wondering, like, how sustainable is this? How sustainable is your climb? We have double Capricorn energy, by the way, just as you have double Virgo energy. I would watch both of these. Because this Capricorn is very ambitious, climbing the mountain, looking ahead, looking at the future. Where am I going? What road am I on? How do I get to my goals? And this is just like, I'm taking a break. I've already gotten pretty far along on this path. I need to take a day off, right? Because both of these cards right now are stopped, not moving. Because the Knight of Pentacles is looking at the goal and thinking, how do I begin? How can I get started doing something? The Queen, though, is already done with the cycle and is stopped and looking back and thinking, wow, okay, look how far I've come. It's time to end it. It's time to pause, you know. This is you processing the ending of a very active period and moving into a season of low activity, downtime, rest, reboot, reset, recuperation. Because very often, you know, very soon, there will be the beginning again. Another cycle will start. Another cycle of activity, right? So I like that we have kind of the endings and we have the beginnings here. Allow that ending to take place. Allow this new season to nourish you before the next like busy season starts for you. And maybe this is the intermission between all of the activity of summer and then things kind of dip and it's kind of slow and quiet because pretty soon the fall and winter holidays, things ramp up again. Maybe this is only like a few weeks where you get a little bit of downtime before the next busy season. Maybe you're in sales or something or marketing, advertising, whatever it is. This is maybe that low point. You could take advantage of that. Because then you got what? You got Halloween coming, and then you got Thanksgiving, you got all these holidays, right? So this might be that short window where you really can just like get some of your stuff done. Knock some of these things out off your list that you wanted to do for you. Sleep in late, you know, treat yourself, take hot baths, catch up on the shows you wanted to watch, catch up on sleep, read the books you wanted to read. I think, you know, focusing on your spiritual practice, your breath work, your physical health, and stress reduction, because you're going to eventually, very soon, there will be another very stressful period. Yeah. We're going to do an extended reading. If you want to stick around, we'll do an I Ching hexagram. We'll do some oracle cards. There's a link in the corner. There's a link down in the video description. New readings for Cancer on Wednesdays and Sundays. Be sure to watch both readings. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. Leave a comment and let me know where in the world you're watching from. I want you to know that you're the most important part of Dove and Serpent Tarot. I thank you and I love you. And we are all in this together.